Hello dear students, this is Feliza and you're welcome to another episode of my free online tutorial. On today's tutorial, we're going to be learning how to make a handkerchief flair skirt. So if this is something you would like to learn, please keep watching while we get through it. For the course of this tutorial, these are the tools that we're going to be using. Here I have my tape rule, I have my chalk, tailor's chalk, I have my scissors, then I have a vintage fabric. So for this particular fabric, I got 2 years of it and I believe it's going to be enough for making my skirt. So I would also like us to know that the required measurements that we'll be needing for making this handkerchief skirt are, we need our waist measurement, that's my round waist measurement. I need the radius of my round waist, very important. I'm still going to show us how to calculate the radius of my waist. Then also we need the length of my skirt. So these are basically the 3 most important measurements that we need for making the skirt. So to bring out the amount of fabric that I'll be using to make my handkerchief lace skirt, I already folded my fabric into 4 here. So from the tip, I am just going to measure out the length of my skirt. Here I have the length of my skirt to be 20 inches. Then I'll go ahead to add 5 inches for the allowance of my radius. So it's going to be the length of my skirt, which is 20 inches plus 5 inches, which is the radius of my skirt. So giving me 25 inches. So I'll also place the tape like so and measure out in 25 inches. So I'm going to measure 25 inches all the way down because right now I just want to go ahead to create like a square shape. I'm going to take the measurements all the way down. So here I have the amount of fabric that I'll be needing to make my handkerchief skirt. I have it cut out already. So next we'll do now is to calculate the radius because it is the radius that we're going to be using to cut out the flare. So to calculate the radius of my circle, which is my round waist, we're going to be using the formula R equals to C over 2 pi. So here the R stands for radius and C stands for circumference of my waist, that's my round waist, then divided by 2 pi. So breaking it down mathematically, we have 35, which is the measurement of my round waist, divided by 2 times 22 over 7. So 22 over 7 here means pi in mathematics, or rather would I say pi means 22 over 7 in mathematics. So breaking it down further, we have 35, which is my round waist, over 2 times 22 over 7. So first and foremost, we're going to be solving 22 over 7, and here we have 3.14. Okay, so I rounded it up to the nearest whole number. So breaking it down further, we are going to be solving the denominator first, that's the one down first. So we're going to be solving 2 times 3.14, and here we have 6.228 something. So we're going to be rounding it up to the nearest whole number, which should be 6.3. So breaking it down further, we'll have 35 over 6.3. So now breaking down this last part, breaking it down further, dividing 35 with 6.3. Now we have 5.5. Okay, so I'm just going to be using 5 because my fabric is a bit stretchy, and so I don't want to like make it leave on my wrist or something. So now we have 5 to be my radius. So my R equals to 5, my radius is equals to 5. So now we have our radius. We'll go back to our drafting table. So to cut out my flare, I'll just go ahead to place my radius, which is 5. I'll place it like so, starting from the tip. Just like I told you earlier, I already folded my fabric into four parts, so that by the time I open it up, I'm going to be having a full circle flare. So I am inserting my radius, which is 5 inches. I'm going to measure it like so. After measuring it, I'll just go ahead to cut it out. After cutting it out, I have my flare looking all beautiful and nice. So this is my flare. I'll just go ahead to cut the two sides open. Because of the design I'm creating, I'll be needing to cut the two sides of the flare skirt open. So spreading it out, I have my handkerchief flare skirt looking so beautiful, sitting pretty well cut out. Initially, I used my accurate round waist measurement to calculate my radius. Because I wanted to use a waistband, I just wanted to fix a waistband all round. Then I will also insert zipper so that it can actually pass my waist. Sorry, so that it can actually pass my hips. But on a second thought, I decided to use elastic. I wanted to insert elastic band at the waist. So what I did was I expanded my radius with 1.5 inches more because I wanted the waist to be bigger so that it can slide through my hips easily without giving me any form of difficulty. So, but if you want to use elastic band on your skirt, maybe you should go ahead to use your round hip measurement as your round waist so that it can actually like pass your hips easily without giving you difficulty. So instead of using your round waist measurement to calculate your radius, you can actually use your round hips to calculate your radius. So I cut out this particular shape of fabric. This is a rectangular shaped fabric and it's going to serve as a top up to my flame. I'm going to like put it on top of the handkerchief flame that I already cut. Okay, so the length can be as desired. Then the width is about 15 inches. The wideness is about 15 inches. The length can be as desired the way you want it. So to sew this on top of my flame, I'm going to first start by getting the middle point. I'll get the middle point of this top up, then I would notch it. I would also get the middle point of my skirt. I would also get the middle point of the waist of my skirt. So this is just like the front piece, and I'm going to be drawing it separate because of the style that I am creating. So after notching the center of my waist, I am going to place this starting from the center. So pinning the both notched center points, I would go ahead to pin it all the way down. So I'm actually pinning to the rest of the waist area. So when I reach the waist area, I'll go ahead to pin down to the same line. So this is the side seam line. I will pin all the way down so till I reach where the length of my skirt is exhausted. So after pinning, I will go ahead to pin the other side. So starting from the center point, I will pin the other side, and after which I will go to the machine and sew. So now I have sewn it all down. I've sewn it all down, and this is the outcome. This is how it's looking. It's coming out beautiful already. So next I will do would be to join the back bodies of my skirt. That's the back of my skirt. I'll join it to the sides. I'll join it together with the front, joining it by the side. So I'll just go overhead to my sewing machine to stitch down the two sides together. Okay, so to cut the fabric for my waistband, I would go ahead to measure my skirt. I'll measure my waist, like what I have on my waist all round. After measuring it, I will go ahead to cut it off. I'm going to be measuring my waist. I'll measure the front, then measure the back too. So whenever I get there, I am going to use it to cut out my waistband. So for my waistband, I think I'm working with a waistband of 2 inches on fold, placing my fabric on fold. I am going to be going with a waistband that has a wideness of 2 inches on fold. Okay, so here I'm cutting out my waistband, and since my fabric, I'm like managing my fabric already. Since my fabric is already in pieces, I'm going to cut the waistband for the front separate, then cut out the waistband for the back separate as well. So here on the sewing machine, I'll okay here measuring my waistband to be sure that what I have is 2 inches on fold, 2 inches. So next I will do is to sew down the down part, the placing it on fold. I'm going to sew it down on the machine. I'm going to be sewing the down part, that's the open side. I'm going to be sewing it closed up so that it won't be open again. So here I'm done sewing it closed up. I'm done sewing the waistband closed up at the down part. So next I will do now is to mark half inch on my waistband, where I'm going to be creating creating a space for inserting my elastic band. So the total number of space that I'm going to be creating on this waistband is going to be 3. I'm going to be creating 3 spaces. So the first one is going to be here. It's going to be at the top. I'm going to be sewing down, creating like a hole where I'm going to be inserting my elastic band. This is going to be the first line. Then I'll go ahead to create 2 more. I'm working with half-inch elastic waistband. So here on my machine, I would create the first hole where I'm going to be inserting my elastic band. So here I'm creating the second space for the second band, for the second elastic I mean. Then this is the third space for the third elastic band. Okay, so now that I'm done creating the hollow spaces, I'll go ahead to insert the elastic band into the hollow spaces. I'm going to be making use of my safety pin. I'm going to be making use of my safety pin. So I'm going to be using the safety pin to pick the elastic band, then insert it into those spaces that I created down with my sewing machine. So I'm going to be fixing this. I'm going to be fixing the elastic band in all of the three hollow spaces. So here I'm done inserting the elastic band in all of the hollow spaces that I need, and this is the result I got. I love it so much, and I don't know, but this gave me exactly what I wanted. Like, I just love the outcome so very much. Okay, so now next I'm going to do is to fix it on the waist of my flare skirt. And before I do that, I will be joining the elastic band together. So I'll be joining it together to close it up at the two extreme ends, so that I can go ahead to fix it around the waist of my flare skirt. So now that I'm done joining it together, this is what I got. I'll go ahead to fix it around my skirt, the waist of my skirt. I'll go ahead to fix it around the waist of my skirt. So after joining my waistband, this is what I have. I hope this tutorial is helpful. If you find this tutorial helpful, please give me a thumbs up, like, and subscribe for more. See you all in my next video. Bye bye.